Howdy y'all, it's Anna with Always Right, and in today's little Tuesday writing vlog, it's gonna kind of be like a little update vlog, not so much writing. If you're new to my channel, hi, how are ya? I normally do writing content, so don't subscribe if you're expecting to have like a lot of updates on COVID. If you're wanting to write, you're writing, you're an author, feel free to subscribe because that's the content I produce. But today's video, I'm going to be talking about my experience with COVID-19, aka like the coronavirus, aka the pandemic that's going on right now. I'm in Texas, which is one of the states that is having issues with the virus. I have no idea when I got exposed to the virus. I diligently wore masks when I was outside. I do have older parents that live in a different home, thankfully, so I was doing grocery shopping for them, I was doing errands for them, so it could have very well been one of those times. If you're watching this video and you don't believe in COVID and you're gonna tell me I'm stupid and that it's just a cold, you can go away. Thank you. Hope you have a good day. If you don't believe in masks and you want to argue about masks, go away. I think the reason that I am not sicker is because I diligently wore a mask. However, my town is infected with stupid, and people are just adamant that masks are like the government trying to muzzle us. I'm like, dude, you have a unique number and you have to file your taxes every single year. Like, the government already knows all your dirty secrets, let's be honest. I want to go through this virus basically week by week because every week I've kind of had different symptoms, I've had different problems. I have been complying with the Texas Health Department, I've been updating my doctor regularly, I've been updating the health department regularly, and yeah, and it's helped me stay sane. Especially when you get a fun symptom that no one talks about, ever. So I got tested on July 14th. I have a little calendar here. Got tested on July 14th. As of recording this, it is the 27th. I started showing symptoms on the 11th, which was the Saturday before I got tested. So I had a sinus infection basically all of the first half of July. On Saturday the 11th, when I got really sick, I just thought to myself, oh, this sucks. This is just a terrible sinus infection because my symptoms were not on par with what I had heard the symptoms were, like spouted over the news, online, all that stuff. Because one of the things about COVID is that it has a dry cough. Like that, exactly like that. You don't hear phlegm in the cough, it's not productive, you're not producing anything. It's basically just a very painful cough. It's gonna get really gross, so I'm sorry guys. But I was producing phlegm, so I was like, oh, this isn't COVID, this is just like a sinus infection. So I would take Mucinex, and I was like, okay, I can handle this. Monday rolls around, my parents are asking if I wanna get tested for COVID because they were like, oh, I bet you would be able to get a test pretty easily. I said, no, I'm feeling better. So I continued on Monday, and then Tuesday, the 14th, I was just sick feeling. I just felt gross. So I called my doctor, explained my symptoms, and he told me that he thought it was just a sinus infection, like I had said, but that it had kind of evolved into bronchitis in my lungs. That's not too uncommon out here in West Texas, rural Texas. So I was like, oh, okay. But he still wanted me to come in for a test. So I went in for a test, and it was me and my father that went to get tested because he had been feeling a little ill as well. So the doctor tested both of us. That test was the most uncomfortable thing I have ever gone through. Basically, you know, a tool that you may use to clean a metal straw, you know, it's about yay long, it's got a fuzzy bit that's about an inch long. That is the swab. It's got the fuzzy bit. What they do is they lean your head back and they put the swab in basically all the way through to your sinuses, and they have to leave it in there for 10 seconds on each side, and they swirl it. The part of your body that they're swirling against is not a part of the body that likes to be touched or that should ever really be touched by anything. I'm gonna call that week of the 14th the first week. My initial symptoms included kind of the sinus infection symptoms, which is I had a lot of congestion, I had a really runny nose, I was blowing my nose all the time, I had a cough, I had a low-grade fever, and I had started to lose my sense of smell and my taste around Monday, Tuesday, and I was really fatigued. After I got the test done Tuesday, I just felt exhausted, sick. On Wednesday, at that point, my doctor had prescribed me some antibiotics as well as an antiviral medicine to counter my bronchitis sinus infection he thought I had. I did have a sinus infection, and those medicines cleared that up for me, but I still had that cough. It had turned dry later in the week, and I still had the fatigue and the fever throughout that week. I was totally sick for 2 days out of that 5-day work week. Luckily, I worked from home, so I wasn't exposing people to the virus at that time. The first week, I felt like I had a cold. That's the best way to describe it, is the very first week, I just felt like I had a cold, but I wasn't blowing my nose as much, especially after the sinus infection went away. My father ended up getting his test results back on Friday, and I got my test done about 4 or 5 hours before he did because I took the last test, and so he had to wait until he got a fresh shipment of swatches in a few hours later. I was a little concerned, a little confused when I didn't get an email saying, hey, you're negative on Friday or Saturday like my father did. Going into the second week, on Monday morning, I received a phone call from the hospital. I had tested positive for COVID. They gave me some guidelines. My doctor suggested some pills such as a bare aspirin, vitamin C supplements, and zinc supplements. Monday, I ended up calling my boss and telling her that I had tested positive for COVID. My boss basically told me not to worry about work, not to do anything about it, just to rest. Monday and Tuesday, I treated COVID like it was a cold. So I'm pretty used to functioning close to normal while having a cold. However, when Wednesday rolled around, my brain was fuzzy. I couldn't concentrate on anything, not just in like an ADHD sense that I sometimes have, but in if I look at this word too long, if I look at this screen too long, if I look at the TV too long, if I try to read, I get a massive headache. So Wednesday, I slowed down my kind of regular lazy activities. I stopped reading because it became painful to read. I couldn't work on my book at all, and that's what I've been doing, is actually revising my book, and I wasn't able to do that. My parents ordered a little pulse ox for me on Friday because my mom was a little suspicious when I didn't get my test results back the same time as my father. So she ordered a pulse ox, which is basically the little thing that clips onto your finger, and it reads your oxygen level and your heart rate. And Thursday hit, and up until that point, my oxygen had been good. You know, I'd been averaging about 97, 96, which, by the way, is not great. It's not great for someone that's doing nothing. Thursday rolled around, and I started to get dizzy when I was walking just from my bedroom to my couch, which is about 40, 50 feet, period. It's a very quick, very easy trip. There's no obstacles. I'm not having to climb over anything. It's just a straight walk. And I was getting dizzy before I even made it out of my bedroom. And so I took my pulse ox and I put it on my finger while I was standing up, and my heart rate standing up was 120. So at this point, I'd had a low-grade fever for going on 2 weeks. And I called my doctor, panicked. I told him that I was getting dizzy and that my heart rate was accelerated. At this time, no problems breathing. I'm one of the lucky ones that didn't have terrible breathing issues. And he told me that an accelerated heart rate, even just from walking a few feet or just standing up and getting dizzy, is common from having a long-term fever. And the dizziness was from my accelerated heart rate. He said not to worry, to just lay down and try not to move, basically. Made sure that I wasn't having issues breathing, that I didn't have pain in my chest or anything like that. And so Thursday and Friday, I was totally bedridden. On Friday evening, I was trying to kind of keep my brain a little active. At that point, I'd been watching TV and just kind of skimming through pictures on my phone, not even really reading, because that hurt my head. And I decided that I was going to try to write just like a sentence, just kind of like a what if, like a writing prompt. I got to the character's name and the prompt, and my head started hurting. And I couldn't remember how to spell the character's name. And the more I tried, and I finally got it out, don't worry, but the more I tried, the more painful my head became. To a point where I just had to put the pen and paper down after I'd finished writing the name. So Saturday, I finally was able to move into the living room den area to watch TV. I could sit up for about 15, 20 minutes before my entire body just started hurting and I had to lay down again. And then Sunday, I discovered a fun new symptom that I've seen nowhere on the news, and I called my little health department lady in a panic. I had developed a very minor rash all across kind of my upper chest area and up in my neck. It's a symptom they don't tell you about, but COVID, when you're recovering from COVID at least, you can sometimes get a rash on your body. It looked like little pimples, like chicken pox. You can actually see some of them now. These are not pimples. This is actually a rash. Yay! So going into my third week, I'm exhausted still. By about 3 or 4, which that's what time it is right now, I start losing a lot of energy. I start getting just totally exhausted, and I need to lay down. I'm still running a low-grade fever, so I'm still in quarantine. Yay. And I'm gonna be in quarantine for the rest of this week. But ever since I went through those 2 very rough days of being sick on Thursday and Friday of last week, where I couldn't even walk really, I have recovered. I've recovered a bit. I'm not at the level I need to be to really be doing my job yet. I'm not at a level where I can socialize with people, and I'm not quite at a level where I can stay up for more than about 4 or 5 hours without just being absolutely exhausted. Thank you all so much for watching. I will be getting back with the content this week. I have a few videos that I pre-recorded. I just didn't have the strength on Thursday or Friday to edit those videos for obvious reasons. But I will be returning to my writing content. Next Tuesday's video is gonna be the rereading my first draft of my novel, and I'm excited to get back into my book. I haven't been able to really do much with it, but I've used up about all the energy I can. I'm starting to really hurt, and I'm gonna go to bed. But thank y'all so much for watching. Please stay safe out there, and I'll see y'all on Friday with the actual writing content video. And as always, let's get writing.